Thank you. I appreciate your concern.
I appreciate your concern.
Oh, alright. Yeah, fuck it. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Church of Chonkwij podcast. My name is DrNiggle. Still, I'm joined by OmegaConstruct, Punlord, Musquitme, and Zeroburn. Hi, guys.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hope y'all had a lovely week. And week.
I mean, it's definitely been a Monday. Not nearly as bad as it could have been, though.
Somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
Thank you, Stewie.
Oh, boy. Yeah, it was a great week in gaming. Actually, to start off with, just because we're doing, or we're watching Omega play Diablo 4, there were some shenanigans and some announcements for Diablo 4 this week. The first one being, obviously, we all read this. There was a Diablo 4 patch that added a new way to score unique loot. So essentially, they made it possible to pick up unique items from Helltide chests.
Fucking broke it.
Which I mean, I read that and I was like, okay, that's a very nice quality and life improvement. I appreciate that you're looking for ways to get people the gear that they want, and that's kind of the whole point of the game. So yeah, I was like, hey, good quality of life update. Good decision there. Unfortunately, they did break it, and a whole bunch of Harlequin crests started dropping out of these. So yeah, that's fun. Omega, did you get one?
No, I was not playing at all during the glitch. I did not get one.
It really did only last for 24 hours.
Apparently, it wasn't even that long from what I understood. I heard some people talking about it, and they were like, it ran for one Helltide, and then they patched it in the middle of the next Helltide.
Yo, so that's
at least what I
really
read,
brief.
or I saw some people say on a podcast.
Yeah.
But
They didn't really patch it in the next Helltide. It was legitimately they disabled it in the next Helltide.
yeah, they just removed it. They rolled it back as really all they did. The real question now that people are wondering is, are they going to remove the Harlequin crests from people who have gotten them via this bug? So
So fun
that's gonna be the real
story,
question.
they aren't.
Have they officially said that?
Yes, they have. They said it in a blue post.
All right. Well, there you go.
They
Hey.
said that only 142 accounts got it. It was an unintended bug, so they are not going to remove it. But in the future, they do reserve the right that if an exploit like this is recognized and announced to the community, they reserve the right to go in and physically remove or ban anybody using an exploit.
So yeah, I mean they always have that in the TOS, but is it really an exploit when it's them fucking up?
I mean, valid point.
We've had this discussion before about other games. Like, is that actually an exploit, or is that just, they fucked up? So I agree with. I didn't know that they were just gonna leave the items that fell to the players. I didn't know that. That's nice. But yeah, I would agree with that decision. It does make some of these stories a little more hilarious. In this article, there was a guy who had a complex plan to keep his Harlequin crest in the event that Blizz decided to take them away. And he said, quote, I sent it to my alt inventory and deleted my alt, now waiting for everything to settle down before restoring a recently deleted character. I didn't even know you could do that.
Huh. I didn't know you could do that.
So you can technically hide items in limbo. At least that's the theory. Who knows? I doubt that would actually work with the people who have access to the database.
Yeah, I have a feeling since they, put it out in public that is something that they did. that will be something that Blizzard goes, oh, you want to try that? Okay. If you delete a character, you
Right.
lose everything on that character.
Yeah, broadcasting plans like this just is generally speaking a bad idea. I agree.
Mm.
But there you go.
In other news, people are dumb.
Yeah, that has to do with the other Diablo 4 news about in future seasons, I guess they said we might not have to make new characters for seasonal content at least. So that we haven't even gotten to season 1 and they're saying stuff like that. No, just wait it out. I don't even know how seasons are going to work. I don't have a solid idea of how the structure for gaining or progressing through the season will work. So I'm waiting to experience all of that before I give notes. But yeah.
I mean, if they add okay, fine. If they add the rebirth thing, it's funny that they say that and they're like, hey, we're not going to make you create a new character. But what people don't realize is they may not have to create a new character. They'll just have to rebirth it. That character they rebirth is still going to be level 1 when they rebirth it.
All gear sent to your mail and levels back to 0. Yeah. And that's how one of the articles that I was reading about this said that it was actually kind of silly having rebirth at all in Diablo 3, although I made use of that function for seasons. I think we all did.
I mean, at a certain point, when your roster is filled and you don't want to delete any of the characters that you happen to like, it's basically your only option to keep a character and not just get rid of it.
Yeah, with limited space. Yeah, limited space in your roster, absolutely. But for character creation in Diablo 3, there wasn't anywhere approaching the scale of character customization that Diablo 4 has. So in Diablo 4, Rebirth actually makes a lot more sense because you spend all this time customizing the look of your character. Obviously, it would be really nice if you had a Rebirth feature so that you didn't have to go through that customization process every single time you wanted to start a seasonal character.
Right.
So I think, yeah, Rebirth would go great with Diablo 4. Yeah, I was just curious. I was curious what Omega is up to. I know you're in Helltide. Are you going after something specific?
In Helltide, the only thing that's actually worth going after is the mystery chests. They're the regular the chests of various loots are just absolutely not worth getting at all. The mystery chests have crazy drops of potions and all sorts of exotic mats that are worth the real reason to make it worth collecting the embers or whatever the hell they're called, cinders.
What have you been spending your ovules on?
Lately I've been spending them on gloves because I need some very specific gloves.
Is there any reason at all to keep a whole bunch of shadow keys in your inventory?
Yeah, I keep a full stack.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I open up every shadow chest I find.
And what's
the way I think about it? Yeah, here's the way that I think about it. Basically, every shadow key costs 20. The minimum cost of item for obols is 40 for armor, and then 50 or up to even 75 for various weapons. So when you spend that 20 on the key and you open up a chest, you are getting 2 to 4 random rolls on obol items. And just like if you pick 2 obol items from the actual vendor, chances are one of them is going to be a blue and one of them is going to be a white, and they're both trash, whatever. Well, a lot of times when you open up an obol chest or a silent chest, or whatever the fuck they're called, you don't get anything worthwhile. But that's just the mechanic. So you're basically paying 20 obols for multiple rolls on random loot, and yeah, sure, most of the time you don't get anything. Sometimes there are also potions in there. It's worth mentioning though, so it's not entirely without reason in its own right. So you get some crafting mats and some potions, or elixirs, I guess is the right term.
I
Elixir.
had one of those chests that dropped like 6 elixirs. I was like, okay, then yes.
Delicious.
So, but yeah, sorry, Omega.
That's all good. I'm fairly distracted, trying not to die and all that, but while also holding a coherent conversation. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so long story short, I do think it's worth it just because you're basically getting discounted rolls on the random loot tables. And yeah, most of the time you don't get anything, but if nothing else, you know, you get a few worthless yellows that are worth some crafting mats, or you sell them for some gold, you know, whatever. But hey, why not? Honestly, I find the whole Obel's mechanic to be quite underwhelming in general. I feel like that's one of the cases where one of the comments that I've seen echoed in a few places that makes a lot of sense to me is that they tried to sort of bridge the gap between Diablo 2 and Diablo 3 with gearing and itemization in some ways. And it kind of it's a little bit of oil and waters, and it kind of just doesn't work in some cases. And to me, like the oval system is a worse version of shards with Kadala.
Yeah.
And you know, for some reason, and I don't even I'm not even sure yet I can articulate why, but for some reason, uh, gambling shards at Kadala felt more rewarding than gambling ovals.
Do you think it might have something to do with the quantity of shards that you were able to rake in doing like GR 80s, 90s, 100s? So you like,
No,
take
it's
a
not
1,000
that.
shards. I'll just say I could take 1,000 shards to Kadala and I could fill my inventory up twice and I might get something good. Usually not. She was a bitch.
See, to me, it's more a flaw of the itemization of this game because with Diablo 3, you are always like on the search for, you know, a couple extra bigger numbers, and you're like, all right, this piece is, oh, I found the, ancient version of this thing that I've been looking at, and so you're always on this quest to like find the all ancient version. That I found some problem. You're always looking for that next tier of gear, but the itemization in this game doesn't work that way. Where like the stats and stuff squeeze like that. In this, it's like, okay, I found this item that's got like all the stats that I need. It's pretty much perfect for this build that I'm doing, and I'm good. Like I don't need to keep rolling for this item anymore. Like, and if I were to keep rolling for it, basically all I'm looking for is literally the same 4 stats that I have now, and hoping that one of the numbers is slightly higher. So at that point, that's not as exciting to roll for as like, oh my god, maybe I'm going to get a primal. Oh my god, yeah. I don't know. It just doesn't feel the same.
Can Obels roll ancient legendaries and or
Yes,
ancestral legendaries?
yes, they can roll sacreds and ancestrals. But see, that's sort of the problem, I think, that I'm getting at is just the way that the gear pool works in this game. It's so diluted that not only are you getting are you rolling on needing specific attributes or specific affixes or whatever, but you're also rolling on a chance of whether it's 1 out of 3 different stages of quality, I guess we could call it, because I mean, let's be honest, sacreds have absolutely no purpose in this game. Anything below sacred is nothing but fodder
Yep.
Yeah, if you find a legendary, the affixes are at least still worth something if you can get a good affix. So that's still an option. But other than that, yeah. So gearing in this game isn't great. I will admit, it's got some weaknesses.
It has room for improvement.
Yeah.
And time
Which
to improve.
I was gonna say that is the thing. They have time, and that's good. If the people in the community don't fuck shit up and you know complain and bitch too much about. Oh, I've seen more complaints in the last week regarding, oh, why didn't they add Blood Knight to Diablo 4 and they added it to Immortal? Well, let's see here. We're a fucking month into the game's life cycle. We're a month in, and you were thinking that we were going to get a new class announcement? Have you lost your mind?
We already have gotten new class announcements. It's going to be released in the first DLC next year, or at the end of this year. I don't know. I don't think Blizzard has rightly said when that's going to be. But yeah, we're tangentially getting close to the discussion again about, well, why wasn't it included in the first place, which leads us back to the discussion about, well, they need somewhere to go, and new ideas are hard. But
I think they're
yeah.
going to start using Diablo Immortal as the testing ground for the new classes for Diablo 4.
Yeah, the games are too different, I think.
Yeah, I've never played Diablo Immortal. I've just watched Omega play a bunch of it, and they seem like completely different games to me too.
They very much are. That's not to say that I don't think there are plenty of elements that they could take and learn from Immortal and add to this.
Yeah, like footfalls, showing you a path. You know the footprints that appear to like guide you to places as you go on the map.
So you can get that
in Diablo 4.
Yeah, you give yourself, like actually on the you can get the footpath on the map,
right,
but not on the actual ground in front of you. Gotcha.
Yeah, there are actually some features of Diablo Immortal that I'd enjoy seeing crossed over. I mean, it'd also be kind of nice to have a mini map, in overlay, a map overlay. But as time has gone on, I've found that to be less and less of an issue.
Yeah, I don't miss it. I gotta be honest.
I do sometimes. If I'm on a large map, I do wish that I could just like instantly open up or hold tab or something like that and have it open up and then close. But that's a rare occurrence. Let me just throw this article up here real quick. This is what I was talking about. Future Diablo 4 seasons might not require an entirely new character. This was from today, hours ago. And Adam Fletcher was the one who responded to this, saying, Rebirth isn't a feature in D4 yet, but we've heard this a bunch, so the team is aware. But yeah. Anyway, Diablo 4, Season 1, the Season of the Malignant, starts on July 20th. Dun dun dun.
I will be playing a druid.
I'm gonna be starting a necro.
I'm gonna be a druid.
I haven't touched a necro yet.
I'm trying out the classes, right before the season after I got all of my altars of Lilith and unlocked the whole map on my Sork. I was just like, okay, I just want to try classes out and see, if there's anything fun. And a friend of mine has created created his own werewolf build and sent it to me and said, you've got to play this werewolf. It is the most fun I have had at a Diablo game, just running around and ripping shit up.
Nice. I gotta tell you, this rogue build that I've been doing, I just hit 90 actually. This is I've done the entire Paragon tree on my own, not following any guides. Like I've been winging it and building this as I've been going, and it has been a lot of fun, and it's still kicking ass.
Nice. Not a fan of daggers.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I just reactivated that, so I got all my glyphs at their double size. So I've decided I'm going on a 5 glyph Paragon tree. A lot of them go with 6, but like you can't fill in a lot of really useful nodes, like these clusters, and I got some little clustering around here, big cluster up here. So I'm going with 5 screens, and from here on out, I'm going to be focusing on filling in, like on this one, for instance, I'm going to fill in all these extra dexterity nodes to maximize that bonus on my cutthroat damage. This one, I'm going to maximize, get some more strength. Let's see, actually, strength. So I'm going to get a couple more strength nodes in here. And then this one, got some more strength nodes to get to buff my damage to close enemies. Then I'm going to finish off crit strike, or crit damage, I should say, and then physical damage. So, yeah, I hit 90. I just got 1 Paragon into 90, so that means what? I've got 39 Paragon points left to play with. So I think I'd rather maximize what I have than squeeze in 1 more glyph and have all of my glyphs be somewhat underpowered, you know?
Yeah.
And looking through the glyphs, like I've been through them, I don't think there's any that are super useful for what I want. And honestly, none of the other Paragon boards are super useful for what I want. So, I don't know. I kind of like this time of a game's life cycle where, like, you've got the meta sluts over at Max Roll and, you know, all those streamers who make their living off of acting like they know everything. And they're saying this is how you do it, but like we're not even into season 1 yet. We're still in the launch phase. The meta is not set, and there's still a lot of things to explore and figure out. And you know, when Diablo 4 launched, everybody was like, "Oh yeah, the what was the rogue build? The encircling blades, or no, the fuck, what's it called? I have one of the aspects in here somewhere.
I think it is the encircling blades.
Twisting blades.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, twisting blades. The blade dancer. That's the meta rogue. Unless you're like that's the meta melee rogue. Then there's the trap builds, of course. But I was like, I fucking love flurry, and this shit's powerful. And how can I maximize it? And like, I've got all kinds of shit buffing the fuck out of my flurry damage. I mean, look at this shit. When I get combo points on there, I'm doing like 50,000 damage on each stab. And all stabs are in a ring around. Like, this shit is bomb. And then I hit my fucking poison enchantment, rank 9 poison imbuement, mind you. Also, yeah, rank 9 flurry with a rank 9 poison imbuement. I can nuke like pretty much anything if I hit it right. This is a fun build.
So that magical time of the game before the community. Actually, you know what? I'll be interested to see how the community behaves once matchmaking becomes a thing in D4, because that is another one of the things that Blizzard said that they were going to work on was matchmaking for endgame content.
You know,
and that'll bring us more close to an MMO than Diablo game has ever been.
No, well,
more
actually,
toxicity.
Immortal has a lot of matchmaking in it, and let me tell you, it works really fucking well. It works so goddamn well. There are so many things that you can just queue up for and find a group and go do it.
So where I was headed with that is that the other, I obviously see a lot of similarities between this game and Lost Ark, but the one thing that I have not seen in Diablo 4 yet is the toxicity of the community that Lost Ark has. So yeah, you're a great time in the game, and maybe it is also a credit to the community as well that there are not people out there who are just bashing you and your skills because you're not using the meta. That would absolutely happen in Lost Ark if you're not geared correctly, if you don't have the right or what do I want to say, the right abilities, the right whatevers. In Lost Ark, yeah, people will just skip you over entirely and they won't even group with you, or they'll group with you and call you trash and then drop you. That is a horribly toxic playground.
Once I get out of this asteroid comet fall here, I'll show you what the tortured chest of mysteries gives you.
This was just a mysteries. Oh, it's nearby. Should I not? Alright.
Yeah, I'm waiting for these to stop falling on me before I try and open it.
So I've definitely discovered my favorite shrine in this game. And it's not greed, it's not channeling, it's the fucking artillery shrine.
Those are good. So,
just melt everything in front of you.
So a whole bunch of good stuff.
Oh,
So
chest armor. Yeah, sacred chest armor. Gotcha.
Forgotten Souls, but really, yeah, it's got a random assortment of ancestrals and sacreds. Only yellows or oranges, though. And then you always get 4 potions. So
nice.
That is truly the only thing, like the only chests worth opening in Helltide. The other loot item chests are just jokes. They're worthless.
Gotcha. So, I'm not exactly sure how to segue into this one from where we are.
Just switch it. Switch.
I know. Alright, I'm going to do it. So, anger from voice actors is not suitable for work mods. Use AI deepfakes to replicate their voices. Quote, this is not okay. And it's mostly centered around Skyrim, not safe for work mods. And, yeah, this has got some people in the voice acting community very angry because their voices are being used with the help of AI voice generators to add lewd content to Skyrim, which is, you know, a thing. But a bunch of people have spoken out about this, including Jennifer Hale, who is the commander of, who is the voice of Commander Shepard in Mass Effect. And yeah, the voice acting community doesn't like this because they say they have the rights to their voice, and you're using their voice without their permission. Discuss.
Yeah, well, I don't think we should be deepfaking voice actors' voices for content that they're not getting paid for.
I 100% agree with that.
Pretty straightforward.
Kinda.
Like, that should 100% be a, you know, violation of, I don't know what we're going to call it, copyright or some sort of intellectual property, but, I mean, if there isn't currently some law against it, this certainly would fit into that area of things where law has not kept up with technology, and that needs to be amended. And there needs to be some sort of law that protects exactly this. I mean, well, then again, also, though, this does get into an interesting gray area simply by virtue of it being these being mods. They're not, you know, nobody's getting paid for this, so it's not a commercial venture. So that actually, I mean, legally, that does just change the context. Morally, I still think it's totally fucked up, but, you know, legally, I wonder if that changes the context.
Well, as far as I know, yes, it does, and that's why I started off saying this should either be copyright infringement or should be a new regulation or something needs to be set up because government is not keeping pace with technology. To me, it's exactly government not keeping pace with technology. This is not really something that anybody was terribly prepared for. I don't think that you could say you might, someone might, and they might succeed in making an argument that this is some sort of intellectual property infringement because, you know, you're using somebody else's voice tones. But again, I'm not sure if you can copyright a voice. That's an interesting question. And also, these are mod makers. These are not people who are selling a product. This is ostensibly art that is being put out. And yes, it's pornographic, but I'm sorry, pornography is technically art.
Well,
Might
it's
not be
interesting
art that you
also.
like.
Well, here's the thing though: the headline and like the conversation talking about porn is also just simply a bit of sensationalization to a degree, because the real issue isn't necessarily the pornography. Like voice actors are speaking up against using their voice with AI deepfakes in any context, really.
Yes.
And I mean, I think that's absolutely reasonable. Like, regardless of the nature of the content, whether it's pornographic or smutty or however you want to describe it, I think.
Or wholesome. What if it was just a mod that added an entire story in Skyrim about you, like, rescuing a family or some shit, and it tied in characters and their voice actors were not included, but AI generated voice content was included in that, and you put out that mod and everybody downloaded it, and it was really wholesome. Same thing. So yeah, I agree. The pornography is sensationalism, but overall, yeah, I'm sure a person more knowledgeable about United States law than I am could make a case that this violates an existing law. But silly me sitting here says we might need to tag on another paragraph to our intellectual property law.
I mean, it
One
could quite
that says
simply just be
no AI.
could just be considered an unauthorized likeness. Yeah, it's basically an impersonation.
See, that could be. But that's when you get that's an interesting thought, but that would pertain pretty specifically to obscene material where like you could be causing harm to someone's career by making other people think that they participated in something obscene.
Well, here's the thing. It's not even that. It's not even just limited to obscene or pornographic material. It's simply that they would have a completely legitimate argument that as a voice actor, anybody using an AI generated representation of their voice would be deceiving the public into believing that that was their performance, and that is not their performance, regardless of whether it is pornographic or not. So the simple fact is, the fact that they would be judged on this AI trained version of their voice is what could harm their potential career in the future. So yeah.
Yeah, and then we're back to, well, what if nobody's making money off it? Because
Well,
yeah,
but the simple
exactly.
fact that it's using their voice and damaging their career could be enough, really.
Could be enough. Yeah. Yeah. But anyway.
Yeah, I'm fully on the side of the voice actors on this one.
Yeah. No.
You know what, though, a fucked up end result of this is one day though we're gonna have AIs that. Have you seen like the pictures that are like, these aren't real people and they're just computer generated amalgamations of people? That's the next step. Yeah, that's the next step. Is we're just gonna have entirely AI machine generated characters down to speech synthesis, even. So there are going to be no more voice actors for stuff like this.
Companies will build digital people for their video games, and yeah, I mean,
as soon as it becomes cheaper to buy the software once than it is to pay voice actors every time you make a game, that's what we're going to see. I mean, I think writers are the current industry that's getting annihilated by AI. The next industry, I think, is going to be, or might very well be, voice actors, because we've gotten really good at synthesizing voices, and the next step towards synthesizing new amalgamated voices from listening to and combining the voices of millions of people is going to be way cheaper for companies than actually paying people.
So a YouTube channel that I absolutely love is just strictly Sir David Attenborough narrating Warhammer lore.
That's
And
great.
it's fucking great. But yeah, it is. It's an AI language model that's been trained off of the thousands of hours probably worth of Sir David Attenborough just narrating things, and it's great. It really is. I wish the real Sir David Attenborough would narrate some Warhammer lore. But yeah, it just things that are amusing, things that are harmless until they're not.
Yeah, that's really what it is.
Speaking of things that are harmless until they're not.
My penis.
Damn. I could go with like one of two articles for this one. I think I'm gonna go with this one. Actually, Ubisoft doing something intriguing and quote unquote smart. Ubisoft is smashing hackers by the thousands with QB, and we may never find out exactly how it works. So last year, at some point, we talked about there was a massive ban wave in Rainbow Six Siege because Ubisoft unveiled some new anti-cheat measures, one of which was Mousetrap. That's the tech that detects if you're spoofing a controller or sword and board or anything like that, and for the purposes of auto aiming or for, just cheating your Weasley black guts out around the game. The other one that they released it's just called QB, and there's really been no explanation from Ubisoft about what it is, and there's very little amount of information out there. However, now that some time has gone by, people have noticed that possibly QB might have to do with their game receiving updates regularly, every few hours, on Steam at least. It's possible that this anti-cheating measure may be randomly selecting, or maybe it's random, maybe it's not, maybe selecting basically blocks of data inside of the executable for an Ubisoft title, and it might be encrypting just certain blocks. And then a new update will come along, and that block will be the encryption for that block will change, and another one will, use the old encryption scheme or a random encryption scheme. But the point is that they would be constantly shifting around memory addresses because they're encrypting. They would be changing how you read the structure. They would be changing around memory addresses within the executable itself, which would make it extremely difficult for anything that hooks in to the executable to find its way around and do anything. So it would basically make updating a hook for an executable a full-time job, because an update would come out, you'd have a limited amount of time, an hour or less, to figure out how it's been changed, modify your options, update all your cheats, distribute it, and then do it all over again in another couple hours. And that is apparently, according to Ubisoft, resulted in a 78% drop in daily mouse and keyboard usage on consoles. So, yeah, Ubisoft is coming out with interesting anti-cheat technology.
So, as you guys know, that I was playing there for a while. I was playing Rainbow Six Extraction. Seeing as how it wasn't like competitive. They really didn't much care for the much of the cheats, but they did still have the what was it, eye cheat or something like that was able to detect if somebody was doing something that they shouldn't be. And when Ubisoft announced, hey, we are no longer supporting this game, there will be no new content, there will be nothing coming out about it. We're just going to procedurally generate the maelstrom each week, and that's it. There was somebody on the Reddit that said, there are two character abilities in the two different characters whose abilities are already in the code that they never put out. And I am going into the code, I am altering the code and going to put these two characters in the game so that you can play it through a mod. And the entire community was like, dude, Don't go fucking around with Ubisoft's code. That is a very quick way for you to get in deep shit with them, and they will file a lawsuit against you. They have proven that they will do this shit.
Yeah,
And he was
Ubisoft
like,
and
no,
Bungie.
no, 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 no. They won't do that. And we were like, bro, trust me when we say what you are doing is not modding. What you are doing is hacking the game and in releasing copyrighted material that Ubisoft had no intention of releasing.
Did you get sued?
And he said, and that when that was mentioned to him, he was like, "Oh, I didn't even think about it like that. I'll go ahead and stop."
Okay.
And I was
all right.
like, "Well, not only that, but you're also talking about it on an Ubisoft Reddit page. Good job, dumbass."
Yeah, good intentions, but yeah. No, Ubisoft and Bungie especially, I noticed them getting covered on Torrent Freak quite a bit because they take... Bungie is ferocious about taking cheat makers to court.
Yeah, they are.
Almost as ferocious as Nintendo, with people trying to put things... Nintendo going after people who distribute ROMs. Which is so stupid. Come on, Nintendo. Just put it all in your fucking Nintendo store, or your whatever the hell you call it now.
I hate when fucking companies abandon games and then take legal action against people who just want to fucking keep playing the games.
That's like, it's my dogs with toys. So my puppy will be playing, a toy for an hour or something like that, and then he'll get tired about it. He'll go bother one of my own dogs. But as soon as somebody goes over there and touches that toy that he was playing with, boom, he's right back over there. He's like, fuck you, this is mine.
Yep.
It's like, yeah. Come on, Nintendo. Come on, buddies.
There's so many great classic Nintendo games that there's no way to actually play outside of illegal ROMs. What Nintendo considers to be illegal ROMs, I should say.
We even said this years ago. It's borderline stupid of them not to do something with those games because they could be making money off of them. Instead, they're spending money preventing people from playing them.
But like Nintendo doesn't even put things on sale. Like,
yeah, no, I guess
that's one of the things that I've seen, and it's kind of become meme stats at this point, is like Nintendo games that are like 3-4 years old still being retail sold for, launch prices versus like look at Steam where games are on sale fucking 3 weeks after they launch.
Right.
Oh, Steam sale's still going on, by the way. Everybody check out the Steam sale. Some stuff might be on sale that you might like.
Yes, my paycheck and I will have a date with that on Friday.
Haha! It's good. I actually noticed that there's a city builder that I've been wanting. Endless Frontier or something like that for a while. It looks like an absolutely gorgeous city builder, but I've been avoiding buying it because it's in early access, and I don't really early access anymore. Been there, done that.
That's fair.
But there's plenty of other stuff on there that is great. I think you can get the entire Valve package for something like $7. It's like that would be the Portal games, all the Counter-Strike series, all the Half-Lifes, all that stuff. Not bad. Not bad at all.
Orange box on crack. Crack.
Yeah, crack. Speaking of crack, let's see. The NVIDIA RTX 4060 Ti 16GB is set to launch on July 18th. To little enthusiasm, according to the title of this article. So I just wanted to bring this up because we've been talking about how price cards have been deviating. A couple months ago we were talking about price cards, and last year we were talking about how basically the price of cards is going to tank, not only because nobody's mining Ethereum anymore, but because there's just a lot of extra stock out there. And so $500 for a 4060 Ti, I don't think $500 is terribly outrageous for this. I haven't run a benchmark yet, but from just the paper specs, it looks fairly similar to a Radeon 9000 series. Although I was, a while ago, eyeing one Radar 9000 series card, it came with 24 gigs instead of the 16, and it was about $500 more expensive than this. So we were saying for Omega a while ago, and probably me as well, we're speculating, are the days of the budget cards over? And the answer this year appears to be kind of, because it's definitely not a $300 card, but $500 for 4060 Ti with 16 gigs of RAM, VRAM, that's not terrible.
No, it's definitely not.
So yeah, this card is going to outpace the 3060 Ti and Radeon's 6000 series.
Oh, that means I need to upgrade my cart. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking.
Yeah, right.
I don't need to do that.
Yeah, so I just wanted to bring this up. There's not a ton of interesting news. This is just a release notice for the next RTX series, and then we get to see what the 5000 series will look like for good old NVIDIA. What's better? Okay. Oh, the Reddit shenanigans.
More Reddit shenanigans?
There are still delightful Reddit shenanigans going on. Yeah. So this past week, to protest again, Reddit. To recap, Reddit has been putting pressure on communities that have been going dark, saying that if mods don't, let people start posting and let random viewers start coming in and viewing the communities again, that Reddit will just depose all the mods and find people who are more willing to play ball with them. So communities have been finding various creative ways to protest this, and the latest installment is the Cyberpunk 2077 subreddit, and it designated itself not safe for work, and it's posting dozens of nude Vs. So
A lot of subreddits
nice.
have done that.
Yeah.
Specifically, that's been one of the common ways to do it. And the new thing has been now there's been a new Reddit account, or Reddit admin account, I should say, created. That's the username is just Reddit mod code of conduct, and their entire existence has been to send messages threatening mods, like entire mod teams of subreddits, to like reopen and shit. And they've been threatening mod teams of subreddits that are going not safe for work now, as it being confusing for viewers and whatnot. And so there have been a number of subs that have been trying to justify it. And Cyberpunk's justification has basically been like, well, Cyberpunk is a mature game. It involves nudity and mature themes and mature language, and so by pretty much any measure of Reddit's own terms of service, and that's what all these communities are doing, is they're weaponizing Reddit's own terms of service, which say that profanity, not just nudity, but like vulgarity and profanity, will they won't serve ad content alongside it. So really, community, like, this is just the latest protest, just throwing Reddit's own terms and back in their face, and it's fun to see how it's continuing.
I did throw up a post here from the Cyberpunk subreddit where it basically explains what you just said, that Reddit has... Well, not only was the subreddit threatened just to reopen and, allow users to come back in and post and view again, but they have more recently been... let's see, quote, according to them, your favorite subreddit's going not safe for work is too much for you to understand. The infamous mod code of conduct messaged us demanding we switch back because you're likely confused by all the not suitable for work content you've been seeing. So yeah, that has already happened to them. And they do explain exactly what you're saying. This is you remember the PEGI system? Rated PEGI 18. Yeah, well, this is an 18+ game. Absolutely is. I mean, you can... Isn't this a game where you can customize the penis if you play a male character?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, fuck yeah. This is obviously... Yeah, so this is silly. And I absolutely love it. So yeah, more power to him, and more Naked V. You know, there's nothing wrong with posting some beautiful tittin'. Who doesn't love him?
No, absolutely nothing wrong with it.
I'll tell you who doesn't love the Teton. Elon Musk. Let's see. Elon Musk
Anybody who
boss.
has kept up with the latest of Musk's ridiculous escapades at Twitter, boy, has this been a good week.
It is. It's been great. So I pulled this up. So Elon Musk mocks false happiness of hide the pain Instagram as he sends Twitter's lawyers in on Threads. So yeah, for anyone who's been living under a rock, Facebook or Meta introduced a new service. It's called Threads. It's pretty much a Twitter clone, but it has a Instagram skin.
Yeah, it's basically latched onto Instagram, and the sort of the selling point was that you can port your Instagram followers list right over to it, so you're not starting from scratch, kind of thing. And it was the fastest app ever to 1 million users in a matter of hours, and it was the fastest. It just hit 100 million users within like the week that it's been around.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
But yeah, the Elon's threat of lawsuits is my favorite. Elon Musk, who so famously, when shortly after acquiring Twitter, so famously and publicly fired all of the engineers, and did his hilarious, made everybody print out their code for review, and apparently was most impressed by longer code. And pretty much anybody who knew anything about coding, when they heard anything about this whole situation, realized that he is just a fucking idiot of colossal proportions. But
if Leetness were here, he would tell us that more code means it's better code. That's just something that everybody knows.
But yeah, so this computer genius, or what he would like everybody to believe is a genius, very publicly, very mockingly, fired all of his engineers, all of his devs at Twitter. And the post that's been going around is him saying, with like a laughing emoji, "I'm sure they will all make great impacts somewhere else." Well, now he's throwing a hissy fit and threatening to sue Meta for hiring ex-Twitter engineers to build threads. So crybaby Elon is, again, hey, same shit I was talking about last week. Late stage capitalism. Fucking Elon's running to the goddamn government and trying to get regulators involved and trying to get the legal process involved, rather than accepting the fact that his little fucking right-wing shitstorm hellhole Twitter that he's created is being abandoned in droves. And Zuck fucking swooped in and took the opportunity.
Elon's just like, well, why didn't I think of that? I saw a great meme the other day of it was just a picture of Elon looking over the shoulders of some devs who actually know how to code, and the quote was Elon asking, "How do they manage to clone our code so fast?" And the devs being like, "Because you put all of Twitter's source code on GitHub for a couple upvotes." And Elon just made concerned face. Yeah, remember when he put the entire Twitter repo on GitHub so that the community could peer review it?
Yeah, that was...
He'd have peer audits. Yeah, that was a great idea. It works with Linux. It works with Linux because Linux is free and people give a shit about Linux because it's useful for a variety of applications. Twitter is Twitter.
The best meme that I saw, and this has been floating around for a while now, but it was like, people said Elon Musk was a genius, so when he started talking about rockets, I figured he knows what he's talking about. And people said he was a genius, so we started talking about electric cars. I figured, he must be a genius, he knows what he's talking about. But then he started talking about computer programming. I'm a computer programmer, and I know that he doesn't know a goddamn thing about what he's talking about. So now I'm going to be sure to stay far fuck away from his rockets and cars.
Yep. Jesus. Tesla cars. Honestly, the Tesla cars are actually pretty solid. The main problems with them are that they're entirely proprietary. You can't get spare parts from anybody other than Tesla, and the
They're
training to get
god
certified in
expensive.
Tesla repair is a fucking racket. You're
Well,
basically paying for a full year of community college if you want to just get certified to repair Tesla vehicles.
the other problem with Tesla vehicles is that they're just fucking ugly inside.
Yeah, steering wheel and an iPad. That's it.
Yeah, like
What about my
they're
fucking
cheap.
heads-up display? Where's my
Like
fuck?
if you actually take a minute and like think about it, like when you're sitting inside a Tesla, I went on an Uber ride in a Tesla once, and I was like, this car is a cheap piece of shit. It's it's
It
fucking
certainly looks that
gross,
it does
dude.
look
It
that
is
way.
cheap leather interior and fucking plastic dashboard with a goddamn budget iPad on it. Not a single interesting bit of detailing inside. It's
There really isn't. There's not
it,
even the controls for it are. I've driven half a dozen of them. So the controls for them can even be confusing if you've never been inside of a Tesla before. It's not the kind of car that has a stick at all. You can't put it into drive. You can't put it into park. You basically, the car intuits what you want to do. So you get in with your key, you close the door, and you press the gas pedal, and it turns on and goes forward. That's really, I mean, it seems neat. That's super quaint, unless you're trying to do some work on the car, or unless you're trying to, in an emergency, figure out how the fuck to throw it in reverse. Yeah, it's
Question: how do you throw the car in reverse?
that's a great question. At some point, I figured that out because I definitely backed the cars out of the garage. But just off the top of my head now, I don't think I could tell you.
I think you have to do it from the iPad thing that they have. I think the shifter is built into the iPad.
It's a button. It's just a button that has R on it, and you have to tap it on the screen. Yeah, that's the other thing. If the touch screen of your fucking tablet in that car goes for any reason, or there's any problem with that, you basically lost functionality in the vehicle.
See, this is why when I bought my Kia, my 2022 Kia Forte, the first thing I did when they said, "Hey, do you want the bumper to bumper warranty for 100,000 miles?" Normally, I am of the opinion that warranties are or that extended warranties are gigantic rackets and you should never buy one. But when the guy looked at me and said everything in this car is run on the computer is run from a computer. No. Nope, I'm just going to go ahead and get that extended warranty.
Well, good thing. Well, okay, computer not such a big deal. I think I don't know what kind of Kia you have.
I mean, isn't that pretty much all cars nowadays? They're all ran from the ECU.
Basically all functionality runs from there. It just depends on how. If you're talking about like something breaking down and it has to do with the ECU, yeah, you have to run a test on the ECU. You just do. But that's easy. That's just you plug it into the OBD module and you're done. The good thing about like Kia, all right, most of the parts in the Kia that would fail are easy to get to. Not as easy as
Oh
okay,
god, yes
Toyota's
they
the
are.
best. Toyota is the best. Subaru is right there with it in terms of how fucking easy it is to get to things that need to be fixed. Fords and Chevys are fucking abysmal.
They're awful, yeah.
Even trucks. But Kia's pretty good, and because Kia is a mid to low range car, the parts for it are like really
They're
reasonable.
cheap.
Yeah, very reasonable. Same thing with most Toyota cars. The parts inside them are very reliable. I don't think I've had my car for what, like 12 years now. I don't know that I have ever needed to replace the spark plugs. I've certainly taken them apart to look at them, but I don't think I've ever needed to replace them. That's a solid vehicle. I've only ever had problems with the compressor in it. But yeah, that's that. None of that for Tesla. None of that for Tesla at all. If something breaks in that car, you need to take it to somebody who can contact Tesla and get parts, which means they're gonna be expensive because Tesla's got the monopoly on the parts. They're their parts. They do not accept third-party components. Or they do, but it'll violate your warranty. Because they don't want you playing around with electronics. And also, you're fucked if the battery goes.
I want to be the first one to jailbreak a Tesla.
Nah, somebody's definitely already done it. They have to have, right? Somebody must have gotten in there. Was it... Which car was it that was getting, like... there were a whole bunch of reports of...
It was
car
Kia's.
thefts.
It was
Yeah, it was
Kia's.
Kia's. Yeah, because they refused to put the safety feature in that made it impossible to remote hack and turn on the car.
It was
That made me
legitimately
laugh.
if you pulled off the steering column, it was the 2019 or the 2017 to 2020 Kia Fortes, Kia Souls, stuff like that, because you could remove the steering column housing. And when you remove the steering column housing, there is a USB port behind the steering column housing
Yeah.
that you could just plug in a USB to and start the car and steal it. It was all over TikTok, and I got concerned because we just bought our Forte and insurance companies stopped covering them. And luckily ours doesn't have that nice little USB port on it. So, because I called the dealership and I was like, did you sell me a fucking car that could get stolen?
But all right, and with that, Masami, keeping to the schedule, it's 10 o'clock. We wish you
Yes.
well. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, everybody, for
Have
joining
fun.
us.
Bye.
Yeah. And GG's, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for everybody watching on Twitter. We'll be back same time, same place next week. Yeah, should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fine
Oh,
week
yeah.
next week. So yeah, we'll see you then. Penis, penis. Fuck Putin, fuck Winnie the Pooh.
Fuck Nestle.
Yeah.